What is happening, everyone? Welcome to GBALL Vision. Today we are talking about some knives that you may have forgotten about, and we're going to kick it off with the Kizer and Dam Designs collaboration. This is the Mad Tanto. This came out early in 2023 between Kizer and Dam Designs. You can see the Kizer logo there, and then the Dam Designs logo on the clip side with the Mad Tanto, and then there is the product number, and it is coming in 154 cm, which is a great steel. Nice Tanto blade that drops down almost like a drop point would. You have some of the best micarta on the market that you can get. You do have a nice deep carry pocket clip. In this case, it will not be reversible, and I fell in love with this knife from the moment I got it. It is a flipper only, but it works very, very well, and in my experience, Kizer has not done the best job with their plunge locks, but in the case of this and some of their newer button locks, they have gotten the plunge lock and the geometry down right, so that way the plunge will hold up to pressure against the spine. This knife has not failed a test on the lock yet. It does have a nice barrel around the button. The button is easy to push, no issues. The action is fantastic, whether you want to push button it or light switch it. All you do, push it down, and it will drop home every time. Nice and easy. This is one of the best button lock knives of 2023 without question. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. This is another release from 2023. This is the Civivi Spiny Dogfish, and it is a Gavco design. You have a nice sheep's foot style blade here, all kinds of different angles going on. Nice low tip, little bit of belly here, hollow ground here, and then a flat grind here, I believe, unless it's might be a dual hollow. It just gets thicker up here. It actually might be a dual hollow grind. You do have a nice long cutout for the thumb and reverse flick. This is coming in 14C 28N blade steel. I don't know if we'll be able to pick it up or not. Probably not. It blends in pretty good. It does come with some different G10. In this case, it is the black G10, and it's got like a rock texture to it. Open construction, and there is some internal milling in there for weight relief. Good access to that liner with some jimping. The action is very good if you don't mess it up there. Reverse flick, fantastic. Good ergos. It's a neutral handle, so very good ergos on this guy, and these come in at a very good price. You do have recessed screws and a deep carry pocket clip. The clip is not recessed, and it is not left-hand carry, so I do not know why they didn't recess that. Almost like they cut a little corner, but for the money, it is hard to beat this knife as just a pure user. 14C, a nice sheep's foot style blade, very slicey and thin, very comfortable in hand as well. Love the Civivi Spiny Dogfish, and I think this one and the Mad Tanto are two knives from this year that were fantastic when they first came out, and then not long after that, they get forgotten about. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. This next one is at least a year old or so. This is the Trivisa Lynx. This has a beautiful, thin Wharncliffe blade, very pokey. Not going to be the strongest out there, you know, for you wouldn't want to pry or do anything with this. This is meant for piercing and slicing. You do have a flipper tab for deployment, and it works fantastic. You can push button this guy out. You can light switch it out. They give you a good amount of access there with a chamfer. The micarta is very well done, black micarta. I believe they have a couple of different flavors for this guy. Deep carry clip. It is semi-recessed. The screws are not, but I have never had an issue getting this in or out of pocket. Very similar to a Civivi, a standard Civivi clip that they typically use. Now I want to bring out one that's not in this video, but this is a newer offering from Trivisa, and they have updated the way that they are doing some things, and they've updated their pocket clip. They do recess them now and recess the screws, and the micarta is staying pretty much the same. It's very good stuff. Trivisa is doing a fantastic job. 14C 28N for the blade steel, and these usually come in right around, I want to say, the $50 mark. So for 14C, a nice user blade shape, nice neutral, comfortable handles in micarta. You have a little G10 backspacer with some steel liners and some internal milling. Hard to beat this guy if you are looking for a user. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. This next one used to be a fan favorite. This is the Artisan Cutlery Ahab fingerprint magnet. It is a nice sheep's foot style blade, and it does have a harpoon coming in AR RPM 9 steel, Artisan Cutlery, and CJRB's proprietary steel, and it is a fantastic steel for the money. This thing comes down very nice and thin, fully flat ground. Look at it just fingerprinting right up. Fully flat ground, very thin, very slicey. You have dual thumb studs for the deployment. The cool thing about this knife is it has a hidden pivot screw. In order to get to that screw, you just take off this top handle, just 2 T6s, pull that off, and you can get right to the pivot if you need to adjust anything. A nice titanium pocket clip and backspacer. The Artisan Cutlery Ahab was a huge hit when it first came out. The flame for this knife has kind of dwindled out, but it is still a fantastic knife, very unique without that pivot, with that hidden pivot, and it comes in at a very reasonable price as well. The Artisan Cutlery Ahab. Here's another oldie but a goodie. This is the Kershaw Blur, and maybe these haven't been forgotten about quite as much as some. These are in bigger box stores like Walmart, maybe some other stores similar to that. But this knife is USA made. It's using 14C 28N. It's got a nice coated finish, PVD coated finish on this drop point blade. You have dual thumb studs for deployment, and they are very unique. Not your typical thumb studs. You can see how they are almost half studs, but they work very good. You can get a lot of power onto these now. This knife is assisted, but it can easily be manipulated one-handed, whether you're opening or closing it. You can easily push the liner down and then just close it one-handed. Once you get a feel for the knife, it is very easy to manipulate one-handed, and I have used the crap out of this knife, and it has held up very well. It is recurved, but for the money, aluminum scales, and then they have this proprietary grip insert that they use here, and it actually works very good. This is a great user knife, EDC or work related. You do have a lower mounted pocket clip for ease of in and out of the pocket, lanyard hole, open construction, very well done from Kershaw. I wish they would do some more manual versions and put out quality like this more often, that would be awesome. But for the money, this is a fantastic knife. If you need a work knife that's going to hold up and can still be manipulated one-handed, even though it is assisted, this is a fantastic user knife. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. Here is another fan favorite, or used to be fan favorite, the Petrified Fish Victor. This bad boy is coming in K110. You have a PVD coated blade with a clip point. You have a nice amount of straight edge here, a little bit of belly, and then a nice pokey tip. Maybe not the best knife for utilitarian type tasks, but this is still going to get the job done on most things. It might not be the best for getting in behind strapping and things like that, but if you're just breaking down a lot of cardboard and cutting through tape, that sort of thing, making cuts for certain lengths, this is going to be very good at doing those. You have a flipper tab and it works extremely well. The detent is tuned perfectly. You have a nice cutout there on the clip side, all blacked out hardware, very deep carry steel rollover clip, and it is going to be recessed behind that liner. Your screws are recessed, so there's tons of room in there, and that clip works very well. Lots of retention, but easy in and out. Green micarta backspacer. The micarta is fantastic. Not quite on the level of Kizer's, but it is very close. I would say Trivisa and Petrified Fish, they are both very, very similar. And for the money, this Petrified Fish is a fantastic knife. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. So this next one, it doesn't have to be this exact model here, the button lock model. If you like the button lock, want to get the button lock and it's available, definitely worth taking a look at. I have had 2 or 3 of these CJRB Feldspars, and it is a fantastic EDC and work knife. It's coming in RPM 9. It's coated. You have a nice drop point blade, very pokey. It stays pretty thick all the way to the tip, so it's going to maintain some strength up there. You have this very long belly up to the tip. This is going to be a slicing machine. Very comfortable in hand, especially with these micarta scales. The button lock action is, in my opinion, very good. This button lock came out way before almost any of the button locks you see on the market today. This came out before them. This came out before the original button lock Elementum. And I think CJRB nailed it for their first one. I have heard some, discrepancies about this knife from some people who haven't liked it for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but mine came perfectly centered. The spring detent on this is very good. For a first attempt, I think CJRB nailed it, and this was just kind of a sign of things to come from them. They have now basically taken over the market when it comes to budget button locks. CJRB is kind of the go-to, in my opinion, and this one was the start of that. Now, like I said, you don't have to get the button lock. They make it in a liner lock, and that is also a fantastic knife. I would stay away from the laminated carbon fiber versions, but that is just me. You don't have to do that if you like it. Go ahead and snag it. I'm just not a huge fan of the laminated carbon fiber. If you can get micarta or G10, that's where I would go. But definitely check out the Feldspar for 40, 50 bucks. This is a unbeatable EDC and user knife. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. So this knife came out at least a year ago. This is the Miguron Akri, and this knife is fantastic even to this day. All these knives are. But this knife does not get enough attention. I believe you can get this knife for right around 50, maybe 60 bucks. And that is just absolutely insane. It is a front flipper only, but that is really the only non-issue that I see. It's not really an issue, especially if you like front flippers. It is not multi-deploying. That's the only con, I guess. But the front flipper is so well done that it's just so easy to manipulate, open and closed. You're getting 14C 28N on the blade steel with a nice tumbled finish. Nice drop point blade. Swedge going to the tip. It's going to be nice and strong, nice and slicey. You have contoured G10 handles, G10 backspacer, nice thick steel liners that do have internal milling for weight relief. You're getting a titanium pocket clip, incredible ergos, and this thing is a fantastic size. You do have some jimping there on the liner. Not the best access to the liner, but and it's chamfered. It's very easy to get to, even though there's no cutout or chamfer on this show side. They tried to keep it clean, which I can respect that, especially if you can still get in there easily and manageably. It's just fine. I can get in there from the front or from the side, and on top of all that, they crowned the spine of this knife. So you're getting all that for right around 50 bucks. I think that is just an absolutely insane deal. And if you're looking for a bigger knife with great materials, front flipper that just rockets out of there, that big old blade, very comfortable in hand, the Miguron Akri is definitely one that has been forgotten about and shouldn't be. Let me know down in the comments what knives you would like to see next on this list. I'm going to keep this series up and running. I enjoy doing this and bringing knives back to the light, so to speak. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new to the channel or you are here and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below the video. Would love to have you here. Otherwise, guys, I'll throw up 2 new videos. Go check those out. I love you and have a good night.